In 1,000 feet, use the right 2 lanes to keep right.
Well, hey friends, I hope you're doing great. It is July 2nd, 2021, and it's going to be a great weekend. Thanks for watching this training, and welcome to the most overlooked and underrated coaching conversation where we get to keep the future on the front burner. I'd love to hear where you're watching from, so in the comments, go ahead and just say hi and let me know where you're from. And today is going to be a fun topic. It's Future Friday, so really anything can happen. And so we'll be answering some questions that were shared. But if this is our first time to meet, my name is Peter, and this is Prepare to Go There. It's a coaching conversation, really a journey for friends and leaders alike who want to better lead themselves, so they can pioneer those new and needed ways for others that are wanting to get into a better future as well. You know, I have found just through experience as well as through observation that most people just don't know how to lead others into a better future. And I think if they knew better, they would do better. But whenever we, consider trying to lead your family, your team, your business, a community, a network, a movement, it's like, man, I have this like passion, I have this vision, I have this sense of mission, but I don't know like how to actually break into it. And so instead of a breakthrough, there's a breakdown of morale, of, execution, of just making it happen. And I think there's probably a number of reasons. Every person's facing a different situation, but I'm convinced the reason most people don't know how to lead others into a better future is because they don't know how to lead themselves there first. And so if we want to talk about leadership or preparing for the future, it starts with us. Not in a self-centered way, but as in a leaders go first way. Leaders take ownership. Leaders, get responsible. Leaders are growing first. They're changing first. They're learning first. They're trying, trusting first. They're experimenting and exploring new tactics first. And so what's going to happen through this coaching conversation is we're going to pick up a lot of the life lessons, the life skills that can help us just do life well. So that way, when we hit those momentum cycles, we come into those growth periods where things are happening and it's awesome and there's a lot of moving parts. The leader doesn't break down. The leader doesn't max out. The leader doesn't lose their traction. They don't lose their bearings because they've been putting in the work for years. They've been doing the necessary yet unnoticed preparation. So that way, when they finally get there, wherever there is, and that applies to a few different levels, but when you're there and you're pioneering that future and it's wonderful and wild, you're going to be confident and competent to stay in that space because you've been preparing for that. And so this is for friends and leaders who maybe you just kind of feel unclear about how to describe your purpose or how to describe the process, of getting from where you are right now and maybe that mountaintop point where you feel like you can see it all. And then, what are the steps? What's the process to actually get to where you can do it all and be it all? And then it's also for people who just want a more tactical approach. You're like, man, I'm talking about this. I'm learning about this. I'm dreaming about this. I'm pushing on this, but I need a tactical approach so that way I can actually take on this uncharted territory, so to speak. So I feel like I relate. I feel like we are friends already, even if we haven't met yet, because if these are some of those experiences that you've been having, then I can definitely help you. I can get you outfitted for your future. I can teach you how to lead yourself, because that's the journey that I've been on for years. And it's been such a transformation, such a joy to actually figure out, okay, how do I lead myself? How do I lead others? How do I begin to lead through others? And I'm not just talking about delegation. I'm talking about movements where you're actually empowering people to go further, faster than you ever would or could. And so that's that's leading for the long haul, but it's definitely worth it. And so we gather every day like this. We're finishing up week 3, so that's a big accomplishment. And this will be episode 15, but who's counting? And hopefully we'll have a few hundred more to go. But I just hope that this is the ongoing encouragement, motivation, tactics to help you just keep going. You get started and then you get better. And this, you might be listening to this. That's totally cool. Like if you just want to just put me somewhere on the side, whether it's a tab or a shelf or a cup holder, in your car, and you're just listening along, like that's wonderful. I just think that if we will just keep our future on the front burner, then amazing things can happen. And so we're going to be giving a lot of language to what a pioneering lifestyle can look like. And hopefully you'll begin to see that, oh, this is really doable. It is doable to lead myself, to lead others, to lead through others, and to do so with a proven lifestyle approach. And then I just hope that you know that you're not alone, because so much of this process is hidden. It is, people don't see you in the preparation phase. They see you in the promotion phase, but they don't see you in the preparation phase. And if you've been there and you've lived through it, then you have a little more humility and a little more gratitude. So it is important. And I just want to help other emerging leaders and help friends that are committed to actually put in the work because they know it's going to be worth it. And let's tell you about the email community, and then we will begin with the conversation, and then we'll be answering some great questions that came in earlier today. But I want to keep in touch with you through the Future Friends email community. Future Friends are just a group of folks that are working on themselves. They're working on the future, and they're just learning from each other and keeping each other encouraged. And so this email community is getting all the content that's coming out for this project. And it's also a place where you're going to find all the incentives for the online courses that are soon coming. And then it's just an awesome space for community. In fact, one of the questions that came up was about masterminds, which I love, and I host masterminds. It's one of the things I do, with small groups of friends and leaders. And so you're like, hey, when are we going to do a mastermind again? And that's so fun that you remember it, you value it, you look forward to it. And so basically a mastermind is just a small group that's pulling together. And this one in particular would be focused on prepare to go there, leading yourself well, and really getting into the practical, tactical stuff. So there's a few different ways that we can set this up and get it going. But the easiest way, sincerely, the easiest way is just jump into the Future Friends email community. And then I'll be sending out links and invites for folks who want to get involved in that. I'm not sure kind of what it will look like just yet, but if I would kind of spit something out, I would think it would be something like a Zoom, and then we'll take it from there. So that is that. I do want to give you a gift. if you are new here, I have a free fail-proof planning guide. It is really going to help you get started because you're like, hey, I want to, be empowered. I want to lead myself. I don't want to be helpless. I don't want to be stressed. I don't want to be, in a fog all the time. I really do want to get a grip on my lifestyle approach. Where do I start? Well, I would say let's get you on a planning guide that can help you think through your goals, think through your rhythms, and then think through your day-to-day routines. And that's exactly what this is going to do. It's not a how to now do where you just kind of mindlessly go along with it, because not everybody has the same schedule or the same goals or the same life for that. And so instead you need to learn a planning process, a planning approach, a proven step-by-step system that will help you kind of rebound and recover when the plan kind of falls through. Eisenhower said, plans are nothing, planning is everything. And that's what this is going to give you. It's going to help you stay agile, not fragile. So that way you can show up again and again and just adapt your planning approach. And it's a much lighter way to travel than having this really big clunky system that gets outdated pretty quickly. So you can just put in your email and you can download it instantly and get after it. And my wife, Sarah Joy, and I made this together. I'm super proud of it. And I want you to experience the benefits of it. We're going to dive into today's topic. It is Future Friday. Future Friday is one of my favorite days. I mean, I do enjoy each day of the week for a different reason, but man, Future Friday is really nice. And so I've done this 3 times now, but I think it feels very appropriate, very relevant, very kind of upfront and in my face today because my sister just blew my mind with one of her blog posts. And she is Abby Circles, and she's an amazing mom blogger, and she helps families, just garden their home life. And she's great, but she put out a blog, I think today, and she said, do you know what January 2nd is? And of course, I didn't know. And she said in the blog, basically, it is the exact middle of the year. It is the exact halfway point of 2021. So 6 months have already gone by, and now 6 months are right in front of us. So it's kind of a wake-up call, if we're being honest. Wow, 6 months have already happened. 6 months are left of this year. Let's make it count. And so she actually went headlong into some great planning strategies to help you maximize the rest of your year. And I was just so into it. And I felt like it fit really well into this community and this space, talking about self-leadership. And so I put it in my my bio on Instagram just so you could have a link to it. And that'll be up just, for the next day or two. But you can still find it on her website, thecircles.com, and it starts with a C, but then the middle of that last name is a K. So CIRKLES. All right. So that is that. And basically, Future Friday is a guilt-free deep dive work day. I'm going to say that again. Future Friday is basically a guilt-free deep dive work day. And it's so important that we are working on the future because it's a lot of work. It takes work to get ready for the important things in life. I want to read a quote just to kind of prime the pump here. The legendary leader, Peter Drucker, said, trying to predict the future is like trying to drive down a country road at night with no lights while looking out the back window. That's pretty tough. And so what I hope you don't hear is that we're all here to predict what's going to happen next. And it's fun, definitely it's fun to lean forward, think differently, divergently, and to, try to anticipate things. Absolutely. But that's not this conversation. The conversation is not how do we better predict the future. The conversation is how do we better prepare for the future? Because if we can get so preoccupied with things that won't even happen, that we're not actually putting in the work, we're not actually showing up, we're not actually going through the preparation process. And so I'm much more into preparing for the future and what I mean by that is preparing myself, preparing others, preparing for things that we know about on the calendar or things that we can anticipate in the future. So it is good to think about your future, not in a sense of worry or fear, but to develop the right mindset, the right values, so that way you are making the most of every day. You're making the most of every day. So what is Future Friday all about? It is basically the time in the week where I get to block out all of the other responsibilities and just focus on things that don't feel important right now, but hopefully will be very, very important in the future. And it's not like you just jump into this. It's not like you can just blow off responsibilities. We're going to talk about that, but it's taken me a few years just to get to this point where I have time on a Friday to focus on the future. And maybe that's because, I've been able to be intentional and get tactical with my schedule. Maybe it's because I've just grown this passion for preparation. So now I have the motivation to really make this happen. I haven't always wanted to be this intentional, but the more I grow, learn, lead, try, fail, reboot, I realize the value of getting away for the purpose of getting ahead. Not running away, but just getting away for a while so that way I can get ahead. And I think this applies to so many different levels. I've taken 2 other episodes just to talk about what you could do in a Future Friday. I'm not going to go that direction today for the sake of time, but I do want to ask some questions of you that can help you make this personal. So the first one is, when do you get to focus on your future? I don't care if it's a Friday, a Monday, a Saturday, but newsflash, someday is not a day of the week. Okay? Someday is not one of the days of the week. So you can't say someday when it's more convenient, I will look into my future again. Someday next week, I will try to fit it in. Someday when I'm in a jam, then it'll be important enough to talk about my health, my finances, my relationships, my goals, the key projects that are going to propel me forward, the things that are needed, in my team to help us succeed. Someday is not a day of the week. So you have to ask this of yourself. And when I, had the question. I don't know. Future Friday just stuck. I tried it once or twice. It was kind of fun and it stuck. And so Friday became the time, the day and the time when I get to focus on the future. Now, just so that way it's not misleading and you're like, oh, are you just going to, be like that stone statue, with your face in your hand, your fist, and face in fist, and you're just pondering life and you're just thinking about all the big questions in life, and you're just in thought and you're just kind of strategizing and taking on philosophy. That would be amazing. I think that'd be cool. But that's really not what I mean when I say, when do you get to focus on your future? It's one option that you could kind of plug and play, insert into your day. But here's another way to say it. When will you get to work on what's next? When will you actually get to work on what's next? Now, that implies that you know what's next. You know what's next on the calendar. You know what's next in terms of the chapters of your life story. You know what's next in terms of progress. But if you don't know what's next, you got to find out. So maybe the first 1, 2, 3 Future Fridays, you are doing those deep dives. You are thinking. You are, taking the field trip to the future. You're coming back with the reconnaissance that you need to go get to work. But you shouldn't be doing that all the time. You need to have time where you get to work on what's next. And instead of reinventing the wheel and writing a list, and then you write another list, and then you write another list, and then you're getting bogged down by all the lists, and you're trying to reconcile some of the things you wrote on this list versus that list, and that. You don't want to live that way. Instead, you're just updating one set of objectives, and you're revisiting them. You review, and then you preview. Review what happened, preview what needs to happen next. Review what happened, preview what needs to happen next. This is a very natural tactic. It's a very natural thing. It's like breathing. Breathe in, breathe out. Review, preview. And if you, maybe you're excited about previewing stuff all the time. That'd probably be where I am. I don't review enough. I don't go back and look at my progress and look at my goals and look at what I already committed to do, because I'm all about the new, right? I'm all about new ideas and new projects and new opportunities. So I'm always chasing these new trails. So you have to build in time to review. How did it go? How are you doing? What do we need to be looking out for? What's breaking down? What do we need to improve? And then maybe you're like amazing at reviewing, but not as strong at previewing. You don't really know how to forecast and decide and develop a clear plan. And so you've got to put work into that as well. But when will you get to work on what's next? I think in this context, it's July 2nd. It's the top of a month. It's also the beginning of quarter 3, and it's the halfway point in the year. So this would be an awesome time to preview. This would be that time where you're looking at your goals, your projects, your calendar, and you're saying, okay, what do I know about that I can be working on right now? And that kind of ties into some pre-work as well. So here are some steps that I want you to take in order to enjoy your Finish Fridays. Number 1, you got to finish your work by or before Friday. So for real, like before you have a Future Friday, you have to have a Finish Friday. I mean, for weeks and weeks, maybe a few months, I was calling it Finish Friday before I called it Future Friday, because that was, just to finish the work week on time, to finish all of my responsibilities on time was enough. Like that was a stretch. Finish Friday, man. I'm going to finish by Friday. And once you get that rhythm, you figure out how to do that. There are ways to do that for sure. But once you figure that out and you're consistently, confidently, finishing your objectives day by day, week by week, month by month, then what you're doing is now creating margin, and you're kind of creating this little air pocket or this, space where you don't have to move on to the next thing. You can start to move around and have a finished Friday. And so finishing your work, having a hard line due date for like everything. Say, I'm literally going to finish, whether, I don't know. You can take it however you want. But I mean, this has to be so important to you that you will stay up a little later, you will wake up earlier, and you will do what you need to do. And what we normally do is we fudge that finish line because we think, nobody knows, nobody cares, but your future deserves your focus. So finish all of your work by or before Friday. Now, when I say by Friday, I mean that by the end of the week, by the end of the workday, Friday, you're done. That's cool. That's the start. But what if you could actually finish before Friday begins? And I'm not saying this is all only personal. You could do this for your team. You could do this for your business. You could do this for home life, family. I mean, whatever. But you've got to start carving out, making room for this future work to show up. And you just make it a point. You may say, hey, Monday is a better day for me. Great. Momentum Monday. Do it. But finish on time. And you've got to define, what does finish look like? You have to define it, and you have to agree on it with your team. If you have direct reports, you have to agree on it with them. You have to say, okay, if I finish all of this, am I going to get pulled into anything else? If I finish all of this, can I take this time for research, reconnaissance, strategy, planning, developing, getting ahead? And then when you have that confidence and you say, all right, finish Friday it is. You set that finish line and you race, you push, you go, because this is going to become some of the most important work that you can do during the week. And I'm not saying that, you're only going to do planning on a Friday. You're probably going to be doing admin and a lot of, boots on the ground kind of things throughout the whole week. But man, this is going to become guarded time because it becomes so valuable to you. The next thing you're going to do is decide where your focus is going up front. Like, you need to go in knowing exactly what Future Friday is dedicated for. You need to pre-decide. You need to do this up front. And I say the sooner the better, not like the day of. But if you could decide it in your previous planning session, whenever you do a weekly planning session, you say, okay, finish Friday, what do I need to focus on? And you're building that anticipation. You're getting excited. You're already thinking about what you could do, could say, could finish in that Future Friday, and it would be amazing. And then the next thing is when you get in your alone zone. And that's generally what Future Fridays have been for me, although in one iteration or one version of this day, I love to hang out with future friends. I love to just dream with them, collaborate with them, help them on their future, help them work on, their schedules or their systems, their teams, whatever. But when you are in your alone zone, I really do encourage you, man, go deep. And that means go offline and go off limits. Now, I know you say, well, Peter, a lot of my work is on the internet. Well, you can still create offline documents. You can do offline work for a lot of this. And I know there's a fine line between, well, I play this music, on Spotify or YouTube or some other thing to help me focus, and that's good. But even then, like, preload that up front as best you can, because this is going to become some of the most valuable time to really make moves on your future. So, raise the bar a little bit and start practicing some focus. And there's obviously a great book right over there called Deep Work by Cal Newport. That could be a good resource to you. But go offline, go off limits for a set time. So on my phone, I don't always set a timer, full disclosure, but I do set a time frame that I'm looking at. And one of the reasons I don't need that is because I'm already kind of trained to be time tracking, and I'm working in time blocks anyway. So I'm pretty much doing that throughout the week. But now you're in the zone. You're in your alone zone, and you're just going as far, as fast as you can. All right, so now we're going to get into the questions that some of you put in, and I really appreciate it. And I hope, that Fridays could be just a time to interact and share. So even if you have a question now, you can put it in the comments. But the question about mentorship came up. Where do you find a life coach? Can it be anybody? Does it count if they're just someone, mentoring you digitally? What does that all look like? And I will say, I am working. It's not my immediate project, but it's in my doc to put together some sort of content, some sort of resource for you, a tool that can give you a mentorship roadmap and be very, very useful. But basically what I would say is you want to build a relationship with the mentors in your life, and you want to see them as relationships in your life, whether you ever meet them or not, whether you get to talk to them in a green room or not. You want to build a relationship with those people. Now, I'm not saying that it's some weird, fandom thing, but what I mean is a lot of times you're looking for advice, you can get pretty foggy. And so you're kind of just desperate for any advice you can get. And anything that kind of sounds a bit soothing or sympathetic can kind of, you just swallow it. And so you're really on a search for trusted voices in that space, whatever space you're in. And there's a lot of echoes out there. But what I'm looking for are the voices. Where are the real voices in this space? And then once you can discern and learn from a trusted voice, meaning a person who has the credibility, the character, the competence to even talk about what they're saying, then you will really build a relationship with that person through their content, through their coaching, through their material. And I learn from anyone, but my mentors, the people that I would consider mentors, that's a smaller list of people, because there comes a point where you need advice or you need some sort of example, and you really don't even have an opinion on it yet. And so you do have to trust those mentors in a way that you're not trusting just someone with a neat idea. So there's a big trust fall when it comes to I just need some help. Can someone walk me through this? Can someone guide me through this? Because you might be emotionally like overwhelmed in the moment, and you're kind of like, man, I don't even have the energy to try what this person is talking about. But when they are a mentor and you have already established the trust level and the relationship that you're willing to invest, then you say, okay, if they're saying this, I trust them and I believe that this is someone who can really help me move forward. So I'm going to go with it. Mentors are not everything, though. Okay. Mentors are amazing. They're a guide, but they're not everything, and you shouldn't treat them like everything. There will be seasons of your life where a mentor will really help and have, like a lot of volume speaking into your life. And then there are other seasons where the emphasis needs to go to some other mentors. And so I don't believe in just, kind of being discipled by just any one person. If that's the case, it's Jesus. All right. Jesus is the only teacher, mentor like that. But I absolutely believe that we can see previews of what's possible in the future, things that resonate with us. And we say, man, I really appreciate this part of their life, their lifestyle, their philosophy. I want to lean into that. I want to learn from that. And if and when you really find a great mentor, you need to go like all in with their content and try to serve, try to build a relationship where you can. I've kind of gone too long on that. But the last thing I'll say is let me say it this way. I am so grateful for my mentors. I cannot take credit for who I am, where I am, without acknowledging the grace of God and the people that have been in my life, relationally and strategically. It's been a huge gift, and I can't emphasize how important it is to find meaningful mentorships in your life. It's been such a big deal to me that I want to pay that forward now and just share some of the things that have been passed on to me. So whatever you do, whenever you find a good mentor, hold on to them for life. Just like hang on to them, appreciate them, value them, and don't exploit that relationship by bragging about your access to them, bragging about things that maybe they've told you. That can be a big challenge. If like you're in a more private setting and they're sharing more openly things with you, and now you feel like, pretty cocky about it. And so you now want to impress other people, and you say, hey, well, this is what I know, and this is what I've learned, and this is what so-and-so told me. And you got to like think of it like this was a relationship. They told you something in a setting that other people didn't have access to. So why? Why do you think that is? Sometimes it's because they want to disseminate that information out to others. Other times it's because it has to be personalized and contextualized first, and then you can multiply it out to others. So don't brag. Don't be cocky about it. Be super grateful, and just take advantage of that relationship. And then don't beg and don't ask for all these extra favors from a mentor and say like, hey, please get me into your network or get me onto your platform or give me access to all your people, because that's not cool, and you don't want to do that. Talked about mentorships, talked about masterminds. Join the Future Friends email community, and I will be making a waiting list of some kind just to kind of get a idea of who's ready to get started with a mastermind. And what we'll probably do is a one-time mastermind, and it'll probably go somewhere in the 90-minute range, plus whatever extra time we have. And then we'll take it from there. Journaling. A question came up about journaling. How often do I review my journals or what I'm journaling? And it's more art than science, but basically, whenever I go into a planning session, I want to review. And so part of reviewing is not just looking at the data, but it's actually reliving some of those reflections. And so I use that for interest. But honestly, this might be a bit of a shocker. The journaling is not only for me. I feel responsible to steward my story, and I want to, chronicle the life chapters and all the lessons I've learned, all the things because so much of your value is not really visible or tangible, right? And so that's what you're trying to pass on as well. And I think journaling just kind of helps you do that. One place where journaling is really, really valuable is when you're looking into key decision points. You're looking into key decision points. And one of the things that's really valuable is when you can assess your decision making and you say, hey, this decision, this thing that I was facing is now mostly resolved. It's mostly behind me. Let me go back now, knowing what I know, seeing kind of how it panned out. Let me go back and say, how was I thinking about this going in? How did it work? Where did it not work? And so using that as a diagnostic tool is really valuable as well. The last question that we'll hit, and then we'll call it good today, is about Pioneer People. When is the next content drop coming? And I'm so thankful that question came up. My wife, Sarah Joy, and I have launched a new project called Pioneer People. It's all about helping leaders and entrepreneurs launch out with that dream that's in their heart and take it from a dream to a team, right? You've got something you want to pioneer and you want to build this team, this business, this movement with people in mind. And so you are, mission-minded. You want to serve people with the skills and the gifts that you have. You want to bring influence. You want to make income. You want to have an impact. All of these things are very exciting, but initially daunting, because not only are you figuring out the basics, like just launching a brand, starting a business, planting a church, or making waves, making moves, like that's the stuff that pretty much people already know about, because that we're seeing people do that kind of stuff. But so that's still new for a lot of us. But then you also have the added complexity that you're a pioneer thinker, and so you're an innovator and you're a change agent. And so it's like, I still have this new thing in me that also has to come out. So I'm working on the practical side, but I'm also kind of feeling some other stuff, maybe a little more creative or even prophetic, that you're trying to develop in process. And so you're trying to make decisions and make moves and make it all fit at the same time. And this is the perfect time for entrepreneurs, creatives, influencers, leaders to launch out. Like, really, when you think about disruption, go for it. Like when everybody's saying slow down and hold on, there is a pioneering attitude that says tally ho. And you don't want to do it rashly or impulsively. You want to do it with the wisdom, the counsel, the support system that you're building. But don't wait, And my hope is that this is connected. All this work is connected. So the same way that I took you through that leadership journey, lead yourself, lead others, lead through others. I want to help through this people think about how they're leading themselves, and more tactics are going to be coming out through the content. But then it's going to, level up. And so Pioneer People is not this content. It's not this conversation. It is, it's specifically for leaders of teams, businesses, startups, brands, ministries, movements that are saying, okay, how do we lead a pioneering team? And how do I go from solo to, team to tribe? And thankfully, we both, Sarah Joy and I, have gratefully, a lot of insights, experiences, and just enthusiasm to take on those challenges. So we just want to build relationships and serve. And so that'll be another opportunity for masterminds and content and all that stuff. So we are just coming out of a almost 2-month kind of house mode. We just moved into a new house, which is amazing. And first house, big deal. We've been working on this, waiting on this a while. And so grateful for it. But yeah, we'll get settled in this month and announce some fun updates and let the Pioneer People know what's going on through that email group. And if you're interested in that, you can check that out there as well. Y'all, that is all that I have time for today. And it was so funny. This has just been a very deep work day. I barely just had lunch, and it's, almost 5. So in order to focus on some things, you're going to have to ignore everything else. And so I just need to keep moving with my life. All right, let me see what is left. On Monday, we will be back on week 4, episode 16, going to be talking about how taking responsibility brings freedom and a few other counterintuitive lessons that we can learn when we lead ourselves. I hope that you have just enjoyed this ride. I hope you stick around for more. And I want you to remember you're going places, so prepare to go there. Have an awesome weekend. Happy birthday, America. I hope all of you remember that we are so blessed to be in this nation. Don't ever take it for granted. I appreciate you guys. Stay awesome.